Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. It's a new month, so that means it is power rankings time. We do this at the start of every month, and today I'm giving my power rankings right now, currently in the NBA, as we start 2026. So we're talking about every team here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Links to my Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So getting started right away at number 30, we have the Indiana Pacers. They're currently 6-28, worst record in the league, 15th in the Eastern Conference, 30th rated offense, 23rd defense, 28th in net rating. They dropped 4 spots from the previous ranking of 26. Yeah, Indiana, they're currently on a 10-game losing streak. And yeah, I mean, the tank has really been commencing over there in Indiana. I mean, obviously they had a bunch of injuries, no Halliburton, we understand that. And yeah, I mean, they have been in competitive games and close games. They had a couple games against the Celtics that were close. They just lost on a Paolo Banchero game winner to the Magic on New Year's Eve. So it's not like they've been getting just dominated every night. You know, it's been close losses. But yeah, I mean, it's just it has you thinking of like what this team would look like in the offseason and next season, really, in terms of competing. You know, like this year, the way they're going, it looks like they're going to be like a 15 to 20 win team. And it just has you thinking, like, man, even though they are winning 15 to 20 games next year. Just Tyrese Halliburton coming back, all of a sudden this team is a playoff team again. Maybe it could be. There's definitely more work to be done outside of just getting back Tyrese Halliburton, obviously. But yeah, I mean, Jaren Pascal still go off. Andrew Nemhard's having some good games. Betting Mathurin has been hooping a little bit. Again, guys like, Ethan Thompson, Jay Huff, guys like that. Some opportunity and minutes, I guess, to go out there and hoop. But yeah, Indiana right now, they are pretty bad, and very interested to see what their draft positioning is going to look like this offseason as well. At number 29, we have the Washington Wizards. They are 8-24 at 14th in the Eastern Conference, the 27th rated offense, 30th defense, 30th in net rating. They jump up one spot from the previous ranking. They're not the worst team in the NBA right now, record wise. Washington, honestly, recently they haven't been as horrible. It feels like things have gone a little bit together after they had a 1-15 start to the year. They've won, well, I want to say they won 5 of their last 10 games. They're like 5-5 in their last 10, which for the Wizards is amazing. I mean, we usually don't see that happen that often. Just beat the Bucks on a game winner from CJ McCollum. Had a good win against the Grizzlies. They beat the Raptors. Actually beat the Grizzlies twice in this little stretch right here. So yeah, I mean, they've had some pretty solid games there. You look at some of their team stats. Yeah, 25th in points. Offensively, they're not great. They're about average to below average and everything. Defensively, they are the worst defensive team in the league. You look at all those defensive numbers are about 29th to 30th in terms of opponent points and field goal attempts and threes and rebounds and assists and all that stuff. You're getting CJ McCollum after he had a rough start to the year. He's starting to wake up a little bit. Alex Sarr, I feel like he's having a really good underrated year too. Giving you 17, 8, 2 blocks a game. Leading the league in blocks right now. He's been really, really good. Looking a lot more confident out there. You got Keyshawn George doing his thing all around. Trey Johnson has really been good, and it's been a bright spot for them. I'd like to see him get more opportunity. He has had some injuries this season, so he's been kind of in and out of the lineup. But I like Trey Johnson in that lineup, just giving them a scoring punch, and he's one of the more exciting rookies to watch. But yeah, Washington is slowly putting things a little bit together. It's still not great. They still are going to be a bad team. Still going to be a 20 something ish win team if they get to 20, which on pace right now they probably could. But I mean, it's nice to see some of these young players putting things together and seeing that improvement. Like again, 5-5 of their last 10. That's pretty good for the Wizards. At 28, we have the Sacramento Kings. They are 8-26 at 14th in the West. They have the 29th rated offense, 28th rated defense, and are 29th in net rating. They dropped down one spot from last power ranking. Kings still a very bad team that hasn't really put things together. They've had a bunch of injuries. Zach Levine has a lot of times. Domantas Sabonis, who knows when he's coming back. They have that, and just overall, I mean, we know the product in the court is not very good at all either. Look at their offense. At least coming into the year, I mean, I thought they at least were gonna have a decent offense, and their offense has been struggling. 20th in points. They don't give up threes. They're one of the worst, if not potentially the worst, 3-point shooting team in the NBA. They don't rebound, assist, all that stuff. And then defensively, they also are pretty bad. You look at some of the numbers. I mean, 30th in opponent field goal percentage, 26th in opponent points, 26th in opponent assists, 29th in opponent's second chance and points in the paint. So teams are just getting points in the paint, second chance points against them. Yeah, Zach LaVine had a hot start. He's kind of cooled off a little bit. DeMar DeRozan has been better the last couple games. Westbrook has been a really nice addition to this team, but that's really about it. You do have Keegan Murray back, who Keegan Murray's doing okay, even though he's shooting 26% from three right now. Really, the only thing we're going to be interested for the Kings is the trade market. You know, you have Dennis Schroeder potentially on the market. Malik Monk could potentially be a candidate to get traded. Keon Ellis, maybe even a DeMar DeRozan could be popped off in the trade deadline. That's really what we're looking at the Kings for right now, not about basketball. Because I'll be honest, they're the team. If I see the Kings are on, I'm probably not tuning into that game unless it's the only game on. Because I just don't like watching this team at all, and I'm hoping for some change pretty soon. At number 27, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. They're 8-27 at 15th in the West. They have the 26th rated offense, 27th rated defense, and 27th in net rating. They jump up one spot from the previous power ranking. Pelicans, still not good. I mean, they did have a little bit of a 5-game win streak a week or two ago. So you have that there. That was a little bit something. Now they're currently lost 5 in a row, so they've canceled that out. But the only reason why they're above like the Kings and all that stuff is because they at least are competitive a lot of times. Like they've had a lot of competitive games. I don't think like it's not all horrible. You know, even though their record is bad, like they play better than what their record is. You know, Zion is back, coming off the bench. Now he's back in the starting lineup, and he's been pretty good recently. Trey Murphy has found his shot. Saddiq Bey has been really great over the past month ish. You still have the rookies and Fears and Queen that are doing their thing. Herb Jones, when he gets out there, does what he has to do. So there's still some. I mean, there's still good things. Again, they still are a competitive team. You know, you look at some of their numbers and it doesn't look anything crazy, especially the defensive numbers don't look really that good. But I mean, they have been in competitive games and can make things, interesting. It's just really about they can't win the games, but they can, keep the game interesting and they have some fun young pieces. They're also a team that a lot of people are looking at the trade deadline. If Herb Jones does get moved to a contender, if Trey Murphy, maybe they pull a trigger on that. I don't think they're going to pull a trigger on Zion trade, but who knows? It's never out the realm of possibility, I guess. But yeah, that's really what teams are looking for. But at least they're not an unwatchable team. At least they're a team that you could sit down and watch a close game. So at least they have that going for you, as long as even if their record isn't that good. At number 26, we have the Brooklyn Nets. They're 10-21 at 13th in the East. They have the 26th rated offense, the 21st rated defense, and 25th in net rating. They jump up 3 spots from the previous power rankings. The Nets actually aren't horrible, which is very interesting. Kind of similar to last year, but wow, the Nets have been impressing me. You know, they had a really good month of December. They went, I think, 7-3, 7-4 in the month of December. Their defense, which the first month of the year, I think they were like the second worst defense ever, like right behind the Wizards of this year for like defensive ratings and stuff. Since then, they now are like a competent defense, even though their overall season is 21st. I think in the month of December, they probably were like a top 10 defense in terms of net rating and stuff. You look at some of their defensive numbers, first in opponent field goal attempt, so they're not giving up a bunch of, shots. Even though teams are making them, they're a good 3-point shooting defense. They're sixth in opponent 3-pointers made, second in opponent 3-point attempts. They're second in opponent offensive rebounds per game, so they're not giving up a bunch of offensive rebounds. Seventh in opponent second chance points. The only thing they're not great at defensively is giving up a bunch of fast break points. But yeah, I mean, they're in the top 10 in opponent points per game. The Nets, top 10 points per game opponents. So that's pretty good. Their defense has really taken a rise. Michael Porter Jr. has also been super impressive. Like, I've been so impressed with what Michael Porter Jr. has done, averaging almost 26 and 7 a game on really good efficiency. Like, I did not expect this type of season from MPJ. I thought he was going to have some numbers and some games here and there, but I didn't think he was going to be a consistent 25 point per game scorer on great efficiency. You have that. Cam Thomas is back now, and he's been playing really good in this couple games. Nick Claxton, I really like what I've seen from him. He's been, not only just scoring, rebounding, he's been passing really good. He's been blocking shots. He's just been everywhere. I think you have like Noah Clowney. He's had some moments. Igor Demon has shown confidence somewheres here and there. You still want to see more for some of the young guys because a lot of other rookies still haven't really shown much yet. But I mean, there's something here. And Jordi Fernandez is again proving that he's a really good coach and that no matter what you give him, he's gonna put a decent enough product out there on the court. So you got to give respect to him. But yeah, man, the Nets are not actually horrible. Like they're not gonna be a playoff team or anything like that. They're probably still gonna win like between 20 and 30 games. But like, hey, they're not super bad, which could be good, but could be bad. I don't know. Who depends on how they feel about the upcoming draft and what they want for the draft picks or whatever. But they're not a horrible team. At number 25, we have the Charlotte Hornets. They are 11 and 22, 12th in the East. They have the 12th rated offense, 26th rated defense, and a 21st in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. The Hornets, I was considering moving them up a spot or two. 'Cause I think they deserve a conversation at least to move up a little bit because the Hornets recently haven't been that bad. They've gotten healthy. LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Kokkinepple all playing together. And when those three are on the court together and they're playing, they're actually not a bad team. They're 4-4 in their last 8 games, so they're about 500, which for them is pretty good. And I mean, they've got some good wins. They beat the Cavaliers in overtime. They beat the Hawks. They beat the Wizards, the Magic. They've had losses, but even the losses aren't bad. Like they lost to the Cavs again by 7 a week later. Their last 2 games they've lost, but they lost to the Bucks by 9, or sorry, 10, which is a close game until they kind of blew it a little bit in the fourth quarter. And then on New Year's they lost to the Warriors in a game where they kept up and had some fun moments. So like even the losses have been like good, fun losses that show growth in this team. LaMelo Ball is starting to find some things out a little bit. He's starting to pick it back up. He's strung together a couple good games. Miles Bridges is there, been consistent. Kokkinepple continuing an amazing rookie year. Brandon Miller is healthy, and Brandon Miller has been very good over the past couple weeks as well, and making some great plays. So yeah, I mean the Hornets, they don't look like a bad team, and this could be the start of something. I mean, right now, I mean they're probably about what 2, 3-ish games out of the playing spot. I mean they have a top half offense in the league, 12th rated offense. I mean they shoot the ball at a decent rate. They do the little things decently well enough for this team. And yeah, I mean, they have been not bad at all. So, want to see a lot more from this team. And I think there's definitely a lot of room to grow for them. But I think this is a good start for what potentially could be a really nice run. And I think there's a really good chance of them being a playing team in the Eastern Conference, which for them would be a huge W this season. At number 24, we have the Dallas Mavericks. They're 12 and 23 at 13th in the West. They have the 28th rated offense, top 10 defense, 24th in net rating. They dropped down 2 spots from last power ranking video. The Mavericks still bad record wise, but there's something about this Mavericks team that I think is okay. I think they've had some light in this season. Cooper Flag over the past month has been killing it. Ever since they moved him back to his natural position as a wing, that has really helped him a lot. He's had 30, 40-point games, double doubles with rebounds and assists, defending. He's one of the top clutch scorers in the NBA too, because the Mavericks, I feel like, only playing clutch games. But Cooper Flag has been the guy, and it's showing why a lot of people label him as a generational prospect coming in. And that for the Mavericks obviously is huge. Knowing you have Cooper Flag. Anthony Davis has picked it up game by game. PJ Washington has still been really good. You get guys like Najee Marshall, Max Christie, Brandon Williams, Ryan Nembhard, all making some impacts when they do get into the game. So you have some things going. I mean, and you have a top 10 defense. I mean, look at their defensive numbers. They're 6th in opponent field goal percentage. They're one of the best 3-point shooting defenses in the league. Top 5 in opponent 3-pointers made. They're the best team at not giving up 3-pointers. First in opponent 3-point percentage. So they don't give up threes. They're a great defense. It's really just the offense struggles a lot. And obviously, they're also a team where a lot of people are waiting to see what their direction will be. If they do trade Anthony Davis to the Hawks, or they do make Anthony Davis trade, there's also been reports of potentially them waiting until Kyrie Irving comes back, which we don't know when that's going to happen yet. Hopefully we get an update pretty soon and want to see them three together. And honestly, at this point, I kind of don't really mind them waiting it out and don't mind them not trading Anthony Davis and seeing when Kyrie Irving comes back what they have. Because, I mean, again, I was a big fan of this team in the offseason. I thought this team was going to be like a surprise playoff team, and of course, that's probably not going to happen. But I wouldn't mind seeing Kyrie Irving on this team and wanting them to play this out a little bit longer than just saying, okay, we have to scrap everything. Now if you do get a great offer for Anthony Davis, though, and get something that you feel like you can't refuse, that obviously changes things. I think that puts that you should do that if you do get an offer for Anthony Davis. That's like, man, we're getting a couple picks, we're getting some guys we really like. Like, I don't think we can mess this offer up. This might be the best chance we get at an offer for him. Then go for it. But I don't think it's like a necessary, we have to trade Anthony Davis right now. I think getting Kyrie Irving back and seeing what else you have in this team wouldn't be a bad option. So still keeping your eye on the Mavericks, see what they do. And Cooper Flag is really good. At 23, we have the Utah Jazz. They are 12 and 21 at 12th in the West. They have the 15th rated offense, 29th defense, and are 26th in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. The Jazz actually are not a horrible team, especially to watch. The Jazz are honestly a team that I like watching. and I've been tuning in a lot more Jazz games than I expected to coming into the season. Their offense isn't bad. Right now, you look at some of their offensive numbers: 16 points per game. They're top 10 in 3 pointers made and attempted. They get to the free throw line a lot. They're a good rebounding team, second in assist. Like they do a lot of good things offensively. They have guys that can go get 25 to 30 point games. Guys that, Will Hardy, I think, was one of the most underrated coaches in the game. He puts together things. The only thing is that just they can't guard for anything. I think 29th defense, you look at their defensive numbers. They give up the most amount of points per game, most amount of field goals made, most amount of 3 pointers made, most amount of assists. Like they just don't guard anything. All their games come into like 128 to 125 type of shootouts, but they're fun to watch. Lauren Markin is still doing his thing, give you 27 points on good efficiency. Keontae George, man, Keontae George has been so incredible. I mean, 24 points, almost 7 assists on decent enough efficiency for him. Like he's having 30-point games like nothing, clutch moments, hitting big shots. He just looks so much better, and looking like he's going to be like a key piece of this future and like setting himself as a building block for this team that didn't really have that. That was the big question mark of like, when is Utah going to have that building block? Does any of their young guys, are they going to stick out? They need some of their young guys to kind of start doing something. And Keontae George has done that and taken it a couple miles ahead. Like he has been so, so good. And then, yeah, Ace Bailey has been putting things together a little bit more. Getting good. Nurkic and Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Collier, Walter Clayton getting some more opportunity in minutes. Taylor Hendricks playing a little bit more. So you're seeing some of the young guys get a little bit more opportunity in minutes. And again, they're not a bad team to watch. If the Jazz are on, I'm not like, it's the Jazz. I'm kind of like, okay, Utah, let's see what Keontae and Laurie Marketing are going to do today. Because I feel like those are the only two. It's like Laurie and Keontae, and then everyone else just kind of gets in when they fit in. But yeah, I mean, it's been a decent season for them. We'll see what happens in the second half of the year if they do decide maybe to trade Laurie Marketing or do decide to kind of rein in a little bit because their pick is top 8 protected, or it's going to go to OKC. So are they going to find a way to tank at some point in the second half of the year, or are they just going to keep it going and say, hey, you know what? Screw the pick. Whatever happens, happens. At number 22, we have the LA Clippers. They are 12 and 21 and 11th in the West. They have the 11th rated offense, 22nd defense, 19th in net rating. They jump up 2 spots from last power ranking. The Clippers have won 6 in a row, and all of a sudden, things look different now for LA. Like there's still work to redo. There's still 9 games under 500. They're still not in the play-in officially yet, but there is some hope. Well, when a couple weeks ago we were saying how, it's over for the Clippers and they're, everything was bad. Now things are kind of slowly starting to turn around. And a big part of that is Kawhi Leonard decided to be the best player in the world for a couple weeks. Look at Kawhi Leonard over the last 2 weeks, averaging 39 points on insane efficiency with like 2 steals and 2 blocks. And like he's just doing insane things, putting up 50 and 40-point games like nothing. He has really locked in and has just been like legit. You can make an argument he's been the best player in the world over the past 2 weeks. It's been absolutely incredible to watch what Kawhi's done. And it looks like the Clippers have just kind of said, you know what? Hey, let's actually start playing basketball and winning games now. Like, their offense is just outside the top 10. Look at some of their numbers. Ninth in 3 point percentage. They've been a decent efficiency type of team. Their numbers still look a little bit skewed because, again, they had such a horrible start to the year. Their defense still isn't that great, but at least they're putting things together. Top 10 in opponent points per game. Top 10 in opponent field goals made, field goal attempted. Top 5 in opponent free throw attempts. Top 10 opponent rebounds per game. So there's still some things here. James Harden and Kawhi have been moving. No Zubac, unfortunately, but Brook Lopez in the starting lineup for some reason makes things better. He did have a 9 3-pointer game, but I guess maybe the spacing and not having to give him the ball in the post, give people the ball in the post, maybe opens things up a little bit more, I guess. I don't know. But I don't think I don't think Zubac comes back and that change. I think Zubac comes back and they only get better. But yeah, I mean, things are starting to look a little bit better. It looks like there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency with them, and it looks like they just kind of say, you know what, let's just win a game today, now win a game tomorrow, now win the next game, now win. They're just slowly putting together wins and streaks, which is this point what they have to do when you're this far under 500 and trying to do something, But yeah, Kawhi Leonard has been just on another planet recently. Let's see how far that keeps going. But yeah, I mean, they're interesting if they're back, and they could make a play-in playoff appearance. Things look a lot different now with them, being in that spot instead of what it could look like if they missed. And, OKC probably could have got a top 5 pick. At number 21, we have the Chicago Bulls. They're 16 and 17 and 9th in the East. They have the 24th rated offense, 24th rated defense, and are 22nd in net rating. They dropped down 1 spot from last power ranking video. Bulls still finding a way to be 500. You know, they had a great start, obviously, then they went on a horrible skid. That's like, okay, this is what the Bulls are, they suck now. And then they went back on a winning streak, and now they're like just winning a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. Now they're just hovering around 500, which is what the Bulls always do. We just learned Josh Giddey's going to be out for a couple weeks with a hamstring injury, so that's definitely going to change a lot of things. He's been having a pretty solid season for them, but also see some opportunity maybe for other guys like Trey Jones stepped in and he played really well in his start. But yeah, at this point with the Bulls, I mean we know what they are. They're a 500 team. They're not very good. Um, they just kind of exist in this 8 to 11 area in the Eastern Conference, and that's just what they permanently will be. Again, it'll be interesting to see what happens without Josh Giddey. You know, what other guys are going to step up. Hopefully, guys like Matas Buzelis and Aodo Sumu and, like some of their young guys can take a little bit of a step up and, be able to do some things and, see some of their young guys hoop, especially Modest. I would love to see him pop off and have some big games here and there with a lot more opportunity open up. Even though Josh Giddey's a good facilitator, but again, the ball just has to swing a lot more, and a lot of people have to touch the ball more. So hopefully, Modest is one of those guys. And yeah, I guess the Bulls being 500, what's new, you know? At number 20, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 14 and 20 at 11th in the East. The 22nd rated offense, 18th rated defense, and our 20th in net rating. They dropped down 2 spots from last Power Ranking video. The Bucks, honestly, they're probably one of the most confusing teams to rank on here because without Giannis, they are horrible, but with Giannis, they're actually good and like better than what they should be. So like again, they're under 500. They're in the play-in, but now Giannis is back and they've won. Like even though they did lose to the Wizards on New Year's Eve, which is a bad loss for them. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you look at their numbers and nothing really pops out crazy. I mean, they are fifth in field goal percentage. They're third in 3-point percentage. So they're an efficient team when they do get shots, especially when Giannis is on the court. It's so interesting. With Giannis on the court, it's literally Giannis and a bunch of spacing, which is what you would want. That's like a dream scenario. Giannis can just kick it out to anybody. And he's been doing pretty good. Ken Porter Jr. is back, and Ken Porter Jr. actually has been pretty good as well. Give you 18, 5, and 7. And having some big games. Ryan Rollins coming off the bench, unfortunately, but he's still been able to do some things. Bobby Portis is starting to heat up a little bit. Kyle Kuzma's been playing a little bit better. You still have guys like AJ Green, Gary Trent starting to knock down a couple shots in his last few games. So, I mean, again, when Giannis is on the court, this team actually isn't that bad. How far can they go? Probably not very far because, again, the composition of this team isn't that good. I don't expect a Giannis trade coming up this deadline. I think they're going to play it out and see what happens for this rest of the year, and we'll just see. Hopefully Giannis doesn't get hurt because if Giannis gets hurt again, they're going to fall a lot. But when Giannis healthy, they probably can climb up a little bit and get back into that, top 8-ish in the Eastern Conference. At number 19, we have the Portland Trail Blazers. They are 14 and 20 at 10th in the West. They have the 24th rated offense, 19th rated defense, and our 23rd in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. Blazers, still a very interesting team to me. They still have some moments and some players I really like, but they're still young. They're missing a lot of their guards right now. Jrue Holiday being out really hurts them, and they don't really have a point guard that can set things up. We still don't know when Scoot Henderson's coming back. Obviously, no Damian Lillard for the year, so that hurts a lot. They haven't been able to win close games. Really, their defense hasn't been as elite as you would expect to be. But I mean, there's still some good things here. There's still some things. They play with pace. 15 points per game. They're 7th field goal attempts, 5th in 3-point attempts, 5th in free throw attempts. So they get shots up. They just don't make them at a great clip. They're a really good offensive rebounding team. Thanks to Donovan Clingan, who's averaging almost 4.5 offensive rebounds per game, is nuts. And then defensively, I mean, there's some things. They're a good defensive team from three. They're top 10 in opponent 3-pointers made and 3-point attempts. They force turnovers, but they also turn the ball over the most in the league. So like they're giving up easy points in transition just because they turn the ball over a lot because there's no point guards. Danny Avdia has been amazing, 25, 7, and 7. He's been great. Definitely deserves to be in that All-Star game. Shane Sharp has stepped up a little bit more. We'd like to see him be a little bit better and take some better shots, but he's been stepping up a lot more. Jeremy Grant's been a 20-point per game scorer. Again, Donovan Clingan has been a monster in the interior, and I feel like he's getting better and better. Caleb Love, they have something in Caleb Love. Caleb Love has been really good for them, even though the shooting percentages aren't great and the numbers might be not anything. Watch him on the court. Caleb Love has been a plus for them. So you have that. Robert Williams is playing. So I mean, again, I like things about this Blazer team still. It's still a work in progress. There's still a lot of development to be happening there. Again, the injuries, especially at the point guard position, have really been killers. But I mean, there's still an average team that you have to give respect to. You know, you're not just gonna show up and be like, "Against the Blazers, whatever." They're gonna play hard, fight hard, and they're gonna give you a really good game. They just, it's when once they figure out how to win games like this and consistently put together things in the clutch, they're gonna be such a better team. At number 18, we have the Atlanta Hawks. They are 16 and 19 at 10th in the East, the 13th rated offense, 17th rated defense, 17th in net rating. They take the biggest drop in the power rankings, dropping down 8 spots. Yeah, it was a really rough month of December. I think they went what 3 and 11 in the month of December. I want to say. They really came crashing down. The defense was horrible. I made a video talking about it the other day. You can go back and check that out if you want a full in-depth breakdown of the Hawks. But man, it was really a struggle. And now, I mean, there's a lot of question marks. Trey Young, is there a Trey Young trade coming? The more and more you see things, the more and more you think it could be true, even though you don't really know who is it going to be. Is it going to be like a Wizards or a Kings or a Nets? Or will a surprise team like the Mavericks or something take him on? Who knows? Are they going to go trade for Anthony Davis and try to solidify that defense in the interior? Is Zachary Versace really a part of this team for the future or not? Are they going to trade him for an Anthony Davis? I don't. Who knows what happens now? But yeah, I mean, you have Jalen Johnson who's been incredible. 24, 10, and 8 is amazing. Nick Alexander Walker's been so much better than expected. You got Yeka Kongwu playing good. Dyson Daniels is slowly starting to figure things out a tiny bit more. I like Ace Newell a lot. I think he should get a lot more minutes in the rotation, because I think he brings a lot over there. But yeah, I mean, Trey Young hasn't been great, but I don't think this is purely a Trey Young problem, especially the defense being. I mean, look at the defensive numbers: 25th in opponent points per game, 23rd in opponent vehicle percentage, 25th in opponent rebounds and assists, and points in the paint per game. They force turnovers. That's how they stay okay defensively. They force a lot of turnovers, but one-on-one defense are just not great at right now, and their offense is really taking kind of a dip as well. So even though the numbers say they're pretty good, but yeah, we'll see what happens. They're going to be definitely a team to really watch for this next month and a half ish until the trade deadline to see what they really believe is their future and what their direction should be or is going to be. But yeah, kind of disappointing again for a team that had high expectations, had a really good offseason, and a team that we all expected to kind of be better and be maybe some sort of a player in the Eastern Conference with it being wide open, and they right now are just struggling. At 17, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. They're at 15 and 18 at 9th in the West. The 23rd rated offense, 13th rated defense, 18th in net rating. They jump up 4 spots from last power ranking. The Grizzlies had a pretty okay month of December. They went 6 and 6. They're playing a lot better basketball than what the first couple weeks of the year, where they started off 4 and 11, looked like. And they're putting things together. And honestly, I really like the way this team plays. They play a good style of ball where they move the ball around a lot. The bench, they have one of the best benches in the league scoring wise. And I think maybe the Ja Morant injury and him missing so much time helped out in a way where a lot of their other guys off the bench are really, have confidence now. So now when Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson are in there, now everyone else is starting to eat. Still some work to be done, obviously. They've had a lot of close games. I feel like almost dang near every game in December was a close game besides like one or two of them. You know, um, got a couple close wins. Against the Jazz, they beat up on the Bucks. They did lose to the Wizards twice, and they lost to Philly in their last game in overtime. That was a really good game where Ja had 40. So fairly encouraging loss at least. But yeah, I mean, defensively they've been about average. Offensively, still trying to figure things out. Ja still been struggling to shoot the ball well, but maybe that 40 piece could have worked something up. Jaren Jackson has been a lot better over the past few weeks than what the early season looked like. He's starting to put up 20, 30-point games more consistently and looks a little bit more like, the old Jaren Jackson that we come used to seeing. And then the others, I think their others have really stepped up a lot and are making this team better. Santi Aldama is putting together some 30 pieces. He's averaging 14 and 6. Cedric Coward has been one of the best rookies in the league. I love the way he plays. You got what? Jalen Wells is starting to find his shot. Cam Spencer has been one of the hottest players in basketball, shooting 48% from three. Jock Landale's playing pretty solid. G. Jackson's starting to get back into the rotation a little bit. Sucks that unfortunately Zach Edey's gonna miss a lot more time, even though he was playing really well when he was out there on the court. That really sucks. But hey, some of their role players are kind of finding themselves a little bit and hitting some shots. And right now, all they need is their guys and Jaren and Ja to, really be the Jaren and Ja that we're used to seeing from them. And if they can reach that level, this team's gonna be a lot better, man. There's something here. There's some a little bit of shimmer of light They just need some of their guys to get to where we know we can get, and they need health because they've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year too. At 16, we have the Golden State Warriors. They're 18 and 16 at 8th in the West, the 19th rated offense, 3rd rated defense, and are 10th in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. Warriors still just being around 500. They've won a couple games against some not great teams to kind of put themselves a little bit higher, but they still been struggling around a 500 team. Steph Curry is still, elite. Obviously, give you 28.7 points a game. He's still been able to do his thing. Jimmy has had some good performances here and there. We already know the role players have really been the big struggle. Jonathan Kuminga is no longer part of this rotation, which is a big thing for them. They still have been a team that has to rely heavily on Steph Curry to basically average 30 and be a top 10 player in the league for them to be able to just be competitive and win games. Their defense is still top 3, at least. Look at some of their defensive numbers, look great. 6th in opponent points, 4th in opponent 3-pointers made, 8th in opponent 3-point attempts, 3rd in opponent 3-point percentage, 8th in opponent turnovers per game. Like, defensively, they're pretty good. It's just the offense, they still take a lot of threes, make a lot of threes. They still don't get to the paint a lot. They turn the ball over a whole lot. 28th in turnovers per game for a team whose top 3 players are 35 and above is just like not just insane a little bit. And yeah, they're also a team to watch on the trade market. When Jonathan Kuminga does get traded, because it looks like all signs are pointing towards he's finally getting traded. What will it be for? Are they going to go make it a run out of Michael Porter Jr. or Trey Murphy, or even there's been talks about Anthony Davis in the past couple of days? Is that a real thing, or is that just all talk? Which probably is just all talk, but who knows? That could be a real thing. But yeah, if they don't make a move, it'll be really disappointing. You know, I think they're a team that desperately needs to make a move to bring some life back because I think this team right now isn't getting it done in terms of what they want to do. They don't want to just make a playoff appearance to be happy with that. They want to win and put Steph Curry in a chance, give Steph Curry another real chance to compete for championships. And right now, this team just isn't that. So they definitely need to make a move of some sort. At 15, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 19 and 16 at 8th in the East, 10th rated offense, 14th defense, 11th in net rating. They dropped down 3 spots on last power ranking. Cavs, they've been struggling. Don't look as great as, the team that we expected coming into the season. They have been, the last 2 games have been pretty good, though. They beat San Antonio and beat Phoenix in the last 2 games. They have a game against Denver tonight. Like, if they can string together a couple wins here and there, things obviously can turn around. They just look like they have a little bit more energy. I think that Rockets loss that they suffered the other week where they got blown out really hopefully woke something up in them. Evan Mobley only missed a couple games due to that calf injury, and now he's back. Donovan Mitchell has still been really good. Darius Garland is more and more looking like the guy that we're used to seeing. He has a little bit more pep in his step. Jarrett Allen is playing his best basketball over the last couple games, even though he was struggling a lot earlier. I love Jalen Tyson, man. Jalen Tyson is so good. Love Jalen Tyson. Sam Merrill's back, which is a big part of this team. So yeah, they're slowly starting to get healthy. We still don't know when Max Strus is coming back. DeAndre Hunter still hasn't been that great. They still are. Some guys still haven't been as great as we think they should be. But again, a couple wins here and there, and stringing together a couple good wins, and starting to build a couple good habits again, and that can make a big difference. You know, that can make a huge difference. Numbers wise, they still are top 10 offense. You look at their numbers, still 8th in points. They still play fast, second in field goal attempts, top 5 in 3-pointers made and attempted, even though they're not shooting the ball very well. They don't turn the ball over a lot. They score a lot off turnovers. There's that. The defense needs to get better for sure, and Evan Mobley being back definitely helps their defense. And hopefully now Jarrett Allen playing more inspired and better basketball can help their defense out a lot more. Because their defense I feel like can definitely get a lot better. But maybe this could be the start. Kind of like what I said with the Clippers earlier. Like maybe this is the start of they just needed a little bit of time. They went through a lot in the first part of the season. Now, they need to string a couple wins together, and all of a sudden things could be looking differently soon. At 14, we have the Orlando Magic. They are 19 and 15 at 6th in the East, 17th rated offense, 9th rated defense, 12th in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking. For Orlando, they have played a lot better than the start of the year, but there's still definitely some more levels to reach. Not having Franz Wagner really hurts. He was playing very, very well. Paolo was back, and he's been, on and off. He's had some good, he's had some bad. Hasn't been as great as Apollo season as you wanted to have. Desmond Bain, though, is looking a lot better. Anthony Black has been really good over the past couple weeks. So, and you're finding something with Anthony Black. You know, I've always been a fan of Anthony Black, but it's just always been like the offense. Like, can he find something offensively? And he's been averaging like 20 something points a game over the past couple weeks. So, you're finding something in him. You know, unfortunately, Jalen Suggs is hurt again. It's always just been injuries for Orlando, really. I feel like every time things start to look good, there's always like one or two key players that are missing. And right now, it's Franz and Jalen Suggs hurt. But yeah, I mean, Jason Richardson is getting a lot more time, which I like. Noah Penda is getting a lot more time. Those two have been able to do some things when they get minutes and opportunity. Tristan Da Silva's back playing. Wendell Carter looks a lot better. He's shooting the three ball pretty well and having some big moments. So, I mean, there's still some good things here in Orlando. There's again, still things you want to get better. And again, not healthy right now, not currently healthy. But I think they're still a pretty good team. And hopefully, if Paolo figures it out and starts to look more like the Paolo from last year, the year before, then that can make this team obviously a whole lot better. At 13, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. They're 18 and 14 at 5th in the East. The 18th rated offense, 12th rated defense, 15th in net rating. They jump up 2 spots from last power ranking. The Sixers are healthy. Well, at least as healthy as they probably could be with their star players. Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George are playing. So that's a good thing. And they have been able to win a couple games. You know, they were 0-4 with the big three until, you know, they won 2 in a row. They beat Memphis in that overtime game. And then last night they beat Dallas. So there's a little bit of momentum going there. Their numbers look solid. I mean, they're about average-ish offensively and a little bit above average defensively. So you got some things. It's really just about finding continuity, which is what they kind of lack. Because again, I feel like every time we look up, 4 players are out for them, and even right now they're not fully healthy. Like Kelly Oubre is, I haven't seen Kelly Oubre play in a while. Trent Wofford is missing games. Quentin Grimes just got back. You know, so there's still a couple injuries, but the main part of this team is healthy, which is Maxey, Embiid, Paul George. You know, Maxey's still been able to play really well, 31 and 7. He had a really good game last night. Joel Embiid is, you know, slowly looking a little bit more like the old self. He's had a couple 30-point games and some double doubles and, you know, some flashes here and there of moments. So you have that going for you. Paul George still struggling to shoot the ball. You know, the numbers don't look great and the shooting splits don't look great, especially from two. He's been shooting well from three, but just the 2 pointers just haven't been able to fall. But at least he's out there playing and looking more confident. VJ Edgecombe, man, VJ, that dude's gonna be something. I mean, like 16, 5 and 5. The 3-point shot is so much better than what I expected. The clutch plays he makes. Like there's been a couple games this year, especially. I mean, he hit the game winner against Memphis. He had some good plays against Dallas. He had a game against the Knicks the other week where he was really clutch. Like, man, that guy is just ready for them. Honestly, at this point, I'm dang near ready to start saying the big three of Maxey, Embiid, and VJ. You know, and exclude Paul George from it because VJ Edgecombe is amazing. And then you have some good diamond in the rough. Like Quentin Grimes has still been really good. Dominic Barlow goes out there and just plays hard. Andre Drummond's been pretty good. You know, Justin Edwards when he gets minutes, Adem Bona when he gets minutes, those two play well in their roles. Like I like this Sixers team, man. I really do. It's just about getting healthy and getting continuity. And I think if they can stay like this, you know, obviously they're gonna miss games at some point because that's just you have to expect that. But as long as they can stay mostly healthy and be able to build some sort of, you know, like flow together, I think this is going to be a pretty good team and a team I'm very interested to watch later down the road. At 12, we have the Miami Heat. They're 18 and 15 at 7th in the East, the 14th rated offense, 4th rated defense, 9th in net rating. They dropped down 3 spots from last power ranking video. Miami, I mean, I understand they have technically a lower seeding than the last two teams in Philadelphia and Orlando, but all the records are about the same, so it's just more about preference. And I think the Heat have been a more consistent team than those two others have been. And yeah, I mean, you look at some of their numbers. I mean, with their new offense that they have, they're a really high paced team. Their first to field goal attempts, a lot of their numbers are really good. Top 5 in points, 6th in 3-point percentage and rebounds, top 5 in steals, you know, 4th in points off turnovers, 2nd in fast break points, 3rd in points to the paint. They just play well offensively, and the defensively, they've still been able to be good, still be a top 5 defense. You know, they give a lot of shots because they're 27th in opponent field goal attempts, 20th in opponent 3-point attempts, but it's also because they play with such a fast pace that other teams have to match that pace. So you're just going to give up shots that way. But 4th in opponent field goal percentage, 6th in opponent 3-point percentage. So they're getting a bunch of shots, but teams aren't making those shots on them. They also do give up free throws. They turn the ball over. They force turnovers a lot. So they don't let people score easy ones in transition and stuff. So you got some things in Miami there. Norman Powell has been really good, 24 points a game, doing his thing. Bam has been solid. You know, Jaime Jaquez looks like a front runner for 6th man of the year right now. got Andrew Wiggins playing confident basketball. Khalil Ware has been very good over the past couple weeks. Give you 12 and 10 with a block on 45% shooting from three. He's been a monster, and I love, give him all the minutes you possibly can, please. Davion Mitchell has been playing really well. Nikola Jovic, Drew Smith, Gaspar Shaka Jonas is getting some minutes and opportunity now, with Tyler Hero unfortunately going down again. But yeah, Miami, I mean, they're a very interesting team to me in the Eastern Conference. I mean, they play a good, solid basketball. They have a bunch of good players. They play a good system, and I mean, they're a team that like you can't really sleep on that much in the Eastern Conference. Like, do I think they're contenders? No, but I think they're a team you can't really sleep on and can't really just be like, it's the Miami Heat. We don't really care. Like, nah, they're a good team, man. They really are. I like to see a little bit more, I guess, consistency because they've had some moments, even though they have been consistent this year. But the last couple weeks haven't been as amazing. But they've been able to put together wins here and there, like they beat Detroit yesterday. So like, as long as they can keep this kind of little bit streak up, interested to see what happens when Tyler Hero comes back again and see how they incorporate him into this offense again. And also would like to see Bam be a little bit better offensively. He had such a hot start. I feel like he's starting to cool down offensively. I would like to see him do a lot more. But I mean, the way they're playing right now, I really like it. At 11, we have the Phoenix Suns. They are 19 and 14 at 7th in the West. The 16th rated offense, 11th rated defense, 14th in net rating. They jump up 2 spots from the previous power ranking. Suns are still pretty good, man. I love a lot about the Suns right now. I mean, they just play hard. They play tough. They have a lot of players that are just, diamonds in the rough that they've been able to find and are playing really good. They look at some of their numbers. Offensively, they're about average. Top 10 in 3 pointers made and 3 point percentage. Fifth in offensive rebounds per game, but they're a bad defensive rebounding team. Second in points off turnovers, first in steals, seventh in second chance points. They don't get to the free throw line a lot. They don't have a lot of assists or points or whatever, but they just, play hard and, play interesting style of ball. And then defensively, they've been able to do good things. I mean, they're top 10 in opponent points, opponent field goals made and attempted, opponent 3 point attempts, opponent 3 point percentage, opponent assists. They force a lot of turnovers. So again, they play tough and they just, you have to kill this team, really. You have to really go out there and be on your best against this Suns team. Devin Booker's been very good. I love the way he's been playing, 25 and 6. Even though the shooting numbers don't look insane, he's still been able to do his thing, and really lead this team in a great way. Dylan Brooks has been incredible. I mean, 21.5 points per game just has been the heart and soul of this team. Grayson Allen has been pretty good, even though he's missed some games. Con Gillespie. Con Gillespie's shown he's a legit NBA player. He plays hard. He plays tough. He does so many things. He, plays with a chip on his shoulder. Give you 14, 4, and 5 on really good shooting. Mark Williams is playing very good right now at 12 points and 8 rebounds a game. He's been a monster in the paint. Royce O'Neal shooting the ball very well from three. Jordan Goodwin comes in. Jamari Bouye now is like a rotational player from them. You got Ryan Dunn. They just have so many guys that you don't really think of, or you don't really like. If you're another team, you probably don't even care about that much. But they will come in and be like Con Gillespie will come in and beat you. He'll have an 18 to 20 point game. Mark Williams will come in and have a 15 to 15 game. Jordan Goodwin will come in and get a couple steals. Jamari Bouye will come in and get 8 points, and have a big impact. Ryan Dunn will come in and lock you up. They have a lot of guys that will come in and you don't even think about, but they come in and make impact and they play hard. And shout out to Jordan Knott for doing this. And they look like a legitimate, going to be a playoff team in the Western Conference, man. That's how good they've been. At number 10, we have the Toronto Raptors. They're 20 and 15 at 4th in the East, 20th rated offense, 5th rated defense, 13th in net rating. They dropped down, 2 spots from last power ranking video. The Raptors were hot, were on fire, had a little bit of a stretch there. Then they went a little bit of a losing streak. Now they kind of been on and off ish. Their defense has been really good. It's funny because I feel like the start of the year their offense was really good, their defense was that good. Then they found a little bit of a balance on that hot streak. Now it's their offense is bad, the defense is really good. So it's they haven't been able to really play out one thing. And a lot of that is RJ Barrett missing time. RJ Barrett missed a little bit of a chunk of the season, and that kind of slowed things down a little bit. But yeah, offensively, a lot of their points, first in fast break points, 10th in points off turnovers, 5th in assists, so they just move the ball and score fast. Brandon Ingram has been really good and really clutch as well. Scotty Barnes has been able to do everything. You got Mamu doing good. It's just I guess they just don't. They lack a lot of offensive punch without RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's a guy that's like put pressure on the rim and attack the basket and be able to do the other things here and there. So I guess not having that has been the thing for them. But defensively, I mean, they do a lot. Look at their defensive numbers. They're top five in opponent points per game, field goals made, field goal attempts, 3-point percentage, assists, fast break points. Like they are very good. They're in the top 10 in a lot of great categories defensively. So they have that going for them. Um, they can lock up. It's just really about finding consistency offensively, which they're gonna have to find again. And RJ Barrett, being back is gonna help that a little bit. But this is still a good team in the East. Still a team that you have to really respect out there. Still a team I like watching, especially when Brandon Ingram is going and Scotty Barnes is doing his thing. Like those two, I love watching those two. That's a great duo that they got over there. It's just about getting the others and getting the bench. They could be a team that could make a move a little bit for a bench piece. I like to see them have a little bit more bolster and firepower to their bench, and not have to rely on a lot of guys who are still trying to develop to have that big of a role because some of their guys are not shooting the ball very well from three or anything like that. So I like to see him maybe make a move for like a Malik Monk type player. That would be nice. But besides that, I mean, they are a good team, great defensive team. At 9, we have the Boston Celtics. They're 21 and 12 at third in the East, fourth rated offense, 15th rated defense, fourth in net rating. They take the biggest jump from last power ranking, jumping up 8 spots. Yeah, the Celtics really good. I mean, they started the year off, they're kind of like a 500-ish whatever team, and then all of a sudden, like they just hit a stride, and now they're going in that stride. They've been so much better. They finally kind of figured out how they play and their style of play, and I feel like Joe Mazzulla is putting good lineups together, and they've had a lot of guys step up too. Look at their numbers. I mean, top five offense. The amount of threes they shoot and the way they play, they just are gonna score a lot of points. Second in 3-pointers made, third in 3-point attempts. They're first in turnovers, so they're not giving up. They're not giving up the ball, so you have that. Eighth in points off turnovers, fourth and second chance points. So they have that, and then defensively they've been pretty good too. Even though defensive rating wise they're about average, they have a lot of good defensive stats. I mean, second in opponent points per game. Top five in opponent field goals made, field goal attempts, field goal percentage. Actually, top three in all those categories. First in opponent points off turnovers. That's also because they don't turn the ball over, but they don't give up easy points. Second in opponent points in the paint. Fourth in opponent fast break points. Top 10 in opponent rebounds and assists. So, like, basically almost a lot of different defensive categories they're really good in. So you have that. Jaylen Brown has been just incredible this year. I mean, 29, 6, and 5. He's been putting up 30-point games and, been passing the ball well, defending, like just doing everything, been a super aggressive. Like, just love to see Jaylen Brown take this step, and really doing it for Boston. Derek White, after having a really rough start, he's kind of started to figure out things a lot. He's been able to impact the game so much, putting up, crazy stat lines. I think he had a game the other game was like 27, 6, 7, 7, 2. Like, he just had some huge stat lines. Peyton Pritchard has been pretty good. Then again, like Neemias Queta has shown that he is a quality center in this league. Sam Hauser's hitting threes. Jordan Walsh has become a good player for them. Josh Mina is a good player for them. Hugo Gonzalez plays hard and brings energy. Anthony Simons can score. Luka Garza comes in and gets minutes and plays well. Baylor Scheinman comes in and gets minutes and does what he has to do. Like, this team, they have a lot of guys just buying in and stepping up. And it changes a lot for the Celtics. It really does change a lot because now with them being a top 3 team in the East and looking like they're going to be in that range, when coming into the year, I think a lot of people, especially I, was a believer that they were just going to kind of not tank, but they're just kind of take a step back, try to get a top pick, and let's just regroup for 2027. Now it's like, dang, like, do we make a trade at the deadline and go get someone like another center or someone that could help us right now? Does Jason Tatum come back this year? Because if he's ready in March and they are the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference, especially in the Eastern Conference where it feels like it's kind of wide open-ish, like the Knicks probably are the favorite, but Boston could definitely come in there and do some damage. Like, do we bring Jason Tatum back in March if he's healthy and ready to go and get him a couple games in the regular season before we go on the playoff run? Like, it changes a lot. I obviously got to give credit to them because they've been able to surpass expectations, and a lot of their guys are stepping up right now. And it just makes themselves, they make themselves a very interesting player in the entire NBA. When people expected them to kind of be gone, and that's why the East was wide open. But now it's like, no, we're still here. At 8, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 20 and 11, 5th in the West, 7th rated offense, 25th defense, 16th in net rating. They dropped down 4 spots from last power ranking video. Lakers were a very interesting team to rank on here, because I feel like their record and the players they have, they deserve to be high than a bunch of teams. But they also had been kind of struggling a little bit recently, and it kind of made me want to put them down, but I still kept them in this range, I guess, at 8. But yeah, I mean, offensively, they've still been able to do good, mainly because Luka Doncic is doing his thing, and LeBron is back more consistently. 14th in points. I mean, they're second in field goal percentage, third in free throw attempts, so they do that. Still not a good 3-point shooting team. They're bottom 5 in the league in 3-pointers made and 3-point percentage. Not a good rebounding team. 26 in fast break points, about averaging points per game. Don't take a lot of shots, so they're just not great there. And then defensively, they have really struggled, which we expect them to struggle defensively, and it's really shown over the past couple games. Look at their defensive numbers: 20th in opponent field goal percentage, 29th in opponent 3-point percentage. So teams are just making shots on them. 26th in opponent points off turnover. So when they turn the ball over, teams are just getting easy points there. They are a good team in terms of not giving up rebounds, not giving up second chance points. So you have that going for you. But yeah, I mean, Luka's still been able to do his thing. 33.5 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Yeah. Austin Reeves, unfortunately, going to miss some time with a calf injury, which really, really hurts. LeBron is looking a little bit more better. Riyad Jamar is also injured right now. And yeah, it's just, I feel like they were a very impressive team to me early in the year because they had so many guys buy in and step up. And I feel like that has kind of gone away a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where we knew their defense was really going to lack. But yeah, now being the 25th rated defense in the league, just not going to cut it. They have just a lot of defensive miscommunication, not many defenders out there on the perimeter, and it really is going to hurt them. But I mean, hey, they have Luka Doncic and LeBron, so as long as they have Luka and LeBron, and when Austin Reeves comes back, they're going to be able to win any game because they have those guys, and you have to give them that respect. But there's definitely a lot more things to clean up and things they definitely have to work on and get better at. At 7, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. 21-13 at 6th in the West. The 9th rated offense, 6th rated defense, 8th in net rating. They jump up 4 spots from last power ranking video. Minnesota actually has looked a lot better recently. In the month of December, they had a pretty good record. They went 9-5. Sorry, yeah, 9-5 in the month of December, which is pretty good. They got a couple good wins. They beat OKC, beat the Bucks, beat the Knicks. That was all a 3-game stretch for the OKC, Milwaukee, and New York. And they lost to Denver in that Christmas game where they were down like what 10 or 11. Were they down? I think they were down, and they found a way to come back and be able to force overtime until they kind of Jokic took over. Anthony Edwards has been one of the hottest players, averaging over 29 points a game on really nice efficiency. Julius Randle's been doing his thing. Jaden McDaniels, I really like what he's been able to do on both sides of the ball, shooting the ball efficiently, and scoring. Naz Reid had a good game the other day, so maybe that can spark him up a little bit. Rudy Gobert has been solid. You're getting some help from guys like Bones Highland and Donte DiVincenzo. And there's some good things. I mean, look at the defense. I mean, their defensive metrics, 11th in points per game, top 5 in opponent field goal percentage, 3-pointers made, 3-pointers attempted, opponent fast break points, 6 in opponent points off turnovers. Like, a lot of good things defensively. Offensively, they're able to be an efficient shooting team. 7th in 3-point percentage, 10th in field goal percentage, 11th in points per game, get to the free throw line a lot, 12th in points off turnover. So you have that going for you. Now they did just get blown out by Atlanta the other day, which was very, very weird. I don't know what happened there, but they got blown out by Atlanta, and they're a team that's still very interesting in terms of like obviously the point guard position and getting another guy at the guard is a huge thing for them. That's gonna put them over the top of the next level. But it's also just about like what kind of player do you want and how much you want to sacrifice for that. Because if you want a star player, you're gonna have to give up something. And Julius Randle's been really good. I mean, I don't know if you want to give up Jaden McDaniels or Rudy Gobert. Those guys really make your foundation of your team. So it's gonna be very interesting to see at the trade deadline if they do make a move, which I think they should make a move. But now it's like, do they have to go get a star? I don't think they have to. I think they can just get a good guard that can help them out a lot and that will do things for them. So yeah, but Minnesota's playing a lot better. We'd like to see a little bit more consistently and like to see them go on a little bit more of a run and maybe sneak up the standings a little bit more. But they have been playing a lot better. At 6, we have the Houston Rockets. They are 21-10 at 4th in the West, 2nd rated offense, 7th in defense, 2nd in net rating. They dropped down 1 spot from last power ranking video. Rockets are still a good team. They still win. I liked watching this team. The only thing about this Rockets team that's really holding back for me is the close games, the clutch games. You know, they haven't been amazing clutch games. They have a couple of losses in the clutch that are like, dang, they lost that game. Like the Pelicans game the other week where they had a lead and let the Pelicans force overtime and lost that one was really rough. And yeah, just in the fourth quarter and the close games, it just aren't that great, even though they do have a Kevin Durant. And I guess maybe the game plan and for them is, it just feels like sometimes they forget that Kevin Durant's on their team and they forget that Kevin Durant is like one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen. And one of the big reasons why they got Kevin Durant is for those late game situations. You know, because last year, one of their weaknesses with not having a star was close games. How we close out? Who's going to close it out for us? Now we have Kevin Durant, so we should be giving him the ball, right? And he still give you 25, 5, and 4 on dang near 50, 40, 90 again. They are giving a lot of those moments to Şengün, and they want him to grow over there, which I like. But sometimes it's like Kevin Durant, get the ball, do his thing. But Şengün has been good. I mean, Thompson's been very good. Jabari Smith, Reed Shepard has really taken a big step and has been very good. Tari Easton's back playing. So I mean, there's some good things going on. Dorian Finney-Smith is back. Aaron Holiday, Josh Okogie, Steven, like they still have a lot of good things going on. They're still a great offense, a very efficient shooting offense. I mean, second in field goals made, top 5 in points, third in field goal percentage, second in 3-point percentage, offensive rebound kings, first and second chance points. Only thing is they turn the ball over a lot, 29th in turnovers per game, and that's a lot of not having a point guard in Fred VanVleet. The defensively, they're still very good as well. Don't give up a bunch of points. Don't, you know, give up a bunch of easy shots. Don't give up rebounds. Don't turn the ball. They don't force turnovers, but they just lock you up 1-on-1. So you have that. So they're still a very good team for sure. It's just their next improvement is clutch games. Find the big guy wearing number 7. Find him and let him take you home. At number 5, we have the Detroit Pistons. They're 25-9, number 1 in the East. 8th rated offense, 2nd rated defense, 6th in net rating. They dropped down 2 spots from last power ranking. Pistons are still really good. Still top of the East right now. Still be able to do their thing. They have lost 3 of their last 4 games, unfortunately. A little bit of a, I guess, struggle, even though only 3 of 4 is like not crazy. But yeah, I mean, their defense is still elite. Look at their defensive numbers. Top 5 in opponent points per game, opponent field goals made, attempted field goal percentage, assists, turnovers, points in the paint. Like defensively, they still do their thing. Offensively, there's still some good things here too. Um, you know, points in the paint, points off turnovers, second in rebounds, free throw attempts, top 10 in points per game. Still not a great 3-point shooting team at all. But yeah, Cade Cunningham still been an elite offensive engine. Give you 26, 6, and 9. Been one of the clutchest players. Jalen Duren has kind of slowed down a little bit, but still been able to do his thing. Injuries have been interesting. With Tobias Harris missing time here and there. Karis LeVert hasn't really been that big of a factor as much. Just would like to see them, I guess, maybe. I mean, when you win, a lot of their wins early in the year were close games, and it's tough to only survive on close games. But I mean, I still like the way they play. I still think they're a really good team. Again, it's interesting to see, are they going to make that big move? Even though that big move might not be out there. Like, it could be Larry Marketing, but also probably isn't out there. And I don't think they should force anything. But even a move of some sort just to get another guy that you trust, because it's still really just Cade Cunningham holds the ball all the time, which is not saying that's a bad thing because Cade Cunningham is that freaking good that he can do that and they can still win. But just man, sometimes it's like, bro, they need someone besides Cade to be able to do something on this course sometimes. I mean, they're still great, still number 1 team in the East, still doing their thing. And yeah, Cade Cunningham's still great. At number 4, we have the San Antonio Spurs. 24-9, second in the West, 6th rated offense, 8th rated defense, 7th in net rating. They jump up 3 spots from last power ranking. Man, are the Spurs impressive. So impressive. Like, we knew they started the year off really hot and was at whatever. Wemby got hurt, they still were able to win. And now they just beat OKC 3 times. Like nothing. And we're in the NBA Cup final, and just like, man, this team is a contender. This is a contender in the NBA. Wemby, unfortunately, did get hurt in their last game, but it's nothing serious, so that's good. Wemby making such a big difference. But man, like De'Aaron Fox is so good. Stephon Castle's really taking a huge jump in year 2, averaging 18 and 8 assists. Kellen Johnson's hurt now, which is unfortunate, but he was a sniper over there. Dylan Harper is, like, again, love him as a rookie. Like, literally plays like he's been in the league for 10 years. as a rookie. Keldon Johnson, such a spark of energy off the bench. Harrison Barnes doing his thing. Julian Champagnie just hit 11 threes in a game. Luke Cornett, like they just have so many guys that could do so much different things. They play well offensively and defensively. Mitch Johnson deserves a bunch of credit for Coach of the Year. And this team genuinely is a contender right now, man. And I know there's been a lot of talk about the Giannis trade rumors or whatever, but honestly, at this point, if I'm the Spurs, I'm not making a move. I'm not making a move right now. I'm playing this thing out because this team is so good. Do they actually really need Giannis? Do they actually really need him? They could make a Western Conference final this year. They really, really could. Like, that's how good this team is. They play way above their years. They have a bunch of guys that can handle the ball. They have great guard play. Wemby obviously is a cheat code. Guys like Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie can be shooters. Here's some Barnes, as vets, and Keldon Johnson as vets, that have done this before, whatever. Like, they just they have everything. They have so much, and this team is genuinely just an elite, dang near an elite level team. So like, shout out to the Spurs, man. They are such a fun team to watch, and again, so like early. Like they should not be this good right now. They should not be this good this fast. Like this year, like a playing appearance would have been like cool for them. No, they like legit. We're talking about them potentially going to the Western Conference Finals. Like that is insane how much they have grown this year, man. It's such a good team. At number three, we have the New York Knicks. They're 23-10 at second in the East, third rated offense, 16th defense, fifth in net rating. They jump up 3 spots from last power ranking. The Knicks have really put things together. They started the year off, they were like a good team. They were able to win and whatever, but there's still some things they're putting together. Then they hit the month of December and things just went, they started to get going. They went 9-3, won the NBA Cup, had some great games in there. And yeah, Jalen Brunson was on fire in the month of December. Give you 29 points a game right now. Cat is slowly starting to find his rhythm a little bit. Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby have both been super supreme. The bench has really taken a big step. Yeah, Jordan Clarkson is playing really well. Tyler Kolek is proving to be an actual rotational guy. Deuce McBride is hitting shots when he's out there. You have Mitchell Robinson, offensive rebound monster. You even have like Mohamed Diawara and Kevin McCullough out there give you some good minutes recently. With Josh Hart unfortunately going down with an injury, who he has been very good and been like a great X factor for the Knicks too. Like this team is really putting together well. Like offensively, they're elite. Look at all their offensive numbers. Third in points, sixth in field goals made, fifth in field goal attempts, ninth in field goal percentage, third in 3 pointers made, third in 3 point percentage, fifth in rebounds, fourth in turnovers. Like really everything offensively, they're really good at. Defensively, the only thing that hurts them defensively is they give up a lot of threes. They're 27th in opponent 3 pointers made, 25th in opponent 3 point attempts. So they give up threes. But besides that, like they're just a really good team that does so much. And this looks like the contending favorite this is the favorite in the Eastern Conference right now is the Knicks. And even though the Pistons have a better record, and we gotta respect the Pistons, obviously, I think the Knicks are the better team in the Eastern Conference. I think they're really, really good. I love the things that are going on over there in New York, and I can't wait to see how far this team can go. But right now, I'm really liking what the Knicks are doing right now. At number two, we have the Denver Nuggets. 23-10, second in the West, number one offense, 20th defense, third in net rating. They say the same from last power ranking. Nuggets, I mean, the only thing we can talk about right now with the Nuggets is the injuries, because the injuries have just hit them like a brick this year. I mean, we already had Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown missing a bunch of time. Then Cam Johnson missed time. Now Jokic is going to miss a couple weeks. It's the most time we're ever going to see Jokic miss. We also just learned that Valanciunas is going to miss time now. So really it's just Jamal Murray and the guys. Jamal Murray and Jalen Pickett and Deron Holmes out there hooping right now. Even though Jamal Murray's been super good this year and definitely deserves to be an all-star. But, I mean, yeah, so this probably is going to change by next power ranking, unfortunately. Only because, again, injuries have really hurt them. But like I think when this team's fully healthy, they legit are the biggest threat to win OKC. Like Jokic out there on his own was doing his thing. Jokic honestly was taking MVP back. I mean, 56, 16, and 15 on Christmas, like bro. And then the next game he had like 32, 20, and 10. Like that dude is just like man. Like what can you really say? He's averaging a 29, 12, and 11 triple double on 60, 43, 85 shooting. I mean, what the heck? Also like to see Aaron Gordon back just because defense is really taking a drop. The first month of the year, they were a great defensive team. And now, since that has changed a lot, and a lot of that is due to Aaron Gordon not being out there, and he just, because again, he does so much on defense side of the ball, interior and perimeter. So I'd like to see him back, and hopefully they come back soon because Jamal Murray needs some help out there with everyone else going down. But yeah, injuries killing them. Praying for all their health, and hopefully they can come back, healthy and strong and have a good, round all star to the second half of the year run. And at number one, we have the OKC Thunder, 29-5, number one in the NBA. Fifth rated offense, first defense, first in net rating stay the same from last power ranking. Thunder are still a Thunder. Now they have shown they are not invincible. Lost 3 times to the Spurs, lost to the Timberwolves as well. Like they shown some vulnerabilities here and there. Now let's not get it twisted. They're still the favorite. They're still an elite team. Defensively, they're still great and all that stuff. Shea has been on another level. He's having his best year of his career. Chet Holmgren is able to do his thing. J-Dub's back now. He's still getting great, minutes from AJ Mitchell, Isaiah Hartenstein, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Caruso, and all that. But there has been shown that there's some weakness here. For one, the 3-point shooting. Guys like Lou Dort in them. Teams are just gonna let them shoot whatever they want. We rather guard double team Shea every play than we rather do that than have to guard Lou Dort in the 3-point line. J-Dub also needing to step up a lot more, but I'm not really worried about him because, again, he just came back from injury. He didn't play basically this entire summer, so he's still getting his legs back under him. So I think probably by like the second half of the year, J-Dub will look more like the J-Dub that we saw last year. I can guarantee that, I feel like. And defensively, the only thing they don't do well is they give up a lot of threes. 26th in opponent 3-pointers made, 27th in opponent 3-point percentage. So they're not a great 3-point shooting team, and they give up a lot of threes. They play kind of a risky gamble right there. They just kind of hope that teams don't get hot from 3, and turn them over. But yeah, they're still OKC. I don't really change I don't see the losses and be like, oh my god, OKC isn't good anymore. OKC isn't the favorite anymore. They're still the favorite. It's just they've shown that they're not invincible, which is okay. Like that's completely fine. So yeah, but they're still the team to beat. And that's gonna be all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, doing lots like that. I really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.